everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Natalie Pepito, and if you're wondering why I've been gone for a bit is because since January 33rd of 2022, I have completed about 40 hours of childcare classes in 6 weeks in order to get a special CCQS qualification, which is the Childcare Quality System. And I have until April 10th to apply for scheduled observations in my home and in my program to determine that it's a good daycare where your kids are going. And I figured I don't have to do this qualification. I just wanted to do it because I want to have the best quality infant and toddler school out there. And how better to do that than to have professionals observing my program and seeing where I can improve and things like that. Now, that's a far cry as to what's been going on in the Park City School District. Let's be honest here. What has happened to our school district? What has happened to the Park City School District? Right now, they are being charged with a crime. 3 separate charges as of right now, and probably more coming down the pipeline. So today, we're going to read the indictment, the court docs. On top of taking 40 hours of childcare classes, I did 20 hours of training to become a Peak 45 certified Legree instructor, which is really fun. And I really wanted to teach because I love teaching, and that practice is so good for your body and your mind. It's just really it's a really hard workout, and I just think it's fabulous. And everyone should try it. Peak 45 in Park City. And on top of that, I've been working with my group, Summit County Freedom, in the legislative session. The past 2 years, this girl who's never touched a thing called politics ever, is now very politically active because what's happened in this world in the past 2 years has been really scary. And I don't want my granddaughter raised wearing a mask all her life and, being a slave to the system, so to speak. And I'm working very hard to make this world a better place for her. And I won't quit. I will never quit. And let's see what else. So the legislative session just ended back March the 4th, and we were working on the vaccine passport amendment bill that did not get passed because it died in the House, in the House and Senate floor in the last minutes of March the 4th, I believe. It was a Friday, and they worked until 11:59 p.m. and as soon as the clock struck midnight, the session was over. So it never came up on the agenda. So it passed. Let's see, how did it go? Passed the House, then it went to the Senate, and then they started rewriting. They wanted to rewrite things, amend it, and then it went back to the House, but it never got past that point. So now we know the game that they play, and we learned a lot, and now we're going to move on and learn from that experience. It was a really interesting experience, and I did enjoy the process because I think it's really cool to learn, and I love learning. And let's see what else has been going on. Oh, I went to my very first caucus ever, and I became a precinct chair for my district as well as a state delegate, because if anyone has ever told you, if you want change, then you've got to be the change, correct? Got to change from the local level up. And so that's what I've been doing, and in the course of that, I haven't had time to film videos. But now I'm filming because this is just too important, in my opinion, to not film. So here we go. Without further ado. Oh, and I have part 1 that you can watch, Margaret Olson's press conference. I made a reaction video to that. You can see it right here. If I can figure out the card thing. There's a little link that's supposed to go here. We'll see if I can get that going. Without further ado, here we go. The State of Utah plaintiff versus the Park City School District. The undersigned prosecutor states that on information and belief that the defendant either directly or as a party committed the crimes of failure to report in violation of Utah Code 62A-4A-411, a Class B misdemeanor, as follows to wit: that on or about October of 2021, in Summit County, state of Utah, the defendant did, being a person, official, or institution required to report a case of suspected abuse, neglect, fetal alcohol syndrome, or fetal drug dependency, willfully failed to make the required report. So this clause is going to be in the next two charges. So I'm just going to say Utah Code 62A-4A-411 because that's what it's going to say. Number 2, failure to report in violation of Utah Code 62A-4A-411, a Class B misdemeanor, as follows to wit. So this is that on or about January 21st through March of 22 in Summit County, state of Utah, the defendant did, being a person, official, or institution required to report a case of suspected abuse, and it says fetal alcohol syndrome and all the exact same things I said in the first one. So failure, willfully fail to make the required report. Count number 3, failure to report in violation of Utah Code 62A-4A-411, a Class B misdemeanor, as follows to wit: that on or about December 2021, in Summit County, state of Utah, the defendant did, being a person, official, or institution required to report a case of suspected abuse, blah, 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 okay? Willfully fail to make the required report. This information is supported by a statement of probable cause as follows. This document refers to Park City School District personnel as SDP. Okay, so Park City School District personnel is SDP, and there are 7 SDPs. So get that through your head first, that there's 7 of them. Let's go. In October of 2019, at a Park City School District school located within Summit County, Utah parent number 1 attended a face-to-face meeting with SDP 1 and SDP 2. Parent number 1 told SDP 1 and SDP 2 that the parent's child said he had been touched on the penis by SDP 1, which is a school district personnel. The 2019 allegation in parentheses. Parent number 1 soon left the school after this meeting. SDP number 1 and SDP number 2 immediately called an unidentified person in the superintendent's office, SDP number 3. No report was made to law enforcement or to Child Protective Services. Now, they're mandated reporters. They should have reported this to Child Protective Services, and they didn't. SDP number 1 and SDP number 2 never heard back from the superintendent's offices. An unidentified person in the superintendent's office, SDP number 3. 1 and 2 reported to number 3, right? And no report was made. So 3 people knew of this, and no one reported it to either law enforcement or Child Protective Services. And SDP number 1 and 2 never heard back from the superintendent's offices. All right, continuing on November 29th, 2021. So this is almost 2 years later. Parent number 1 told a medical professional treating the child about the 2019 allegation. The medical professional immediately reported the 2019 allegation to law enforcement. Duh, that's what you're supposed to do. So that medical professional did their duty by law. Our school did not. As a result of the report, law enforcement and Division of Child and Family Services, DCFS, immediately visited the school to check on the child. A child first interview was conducted at the school at that time. Later that day, DCFS spoke with the Park City School District superintendent over the phone. The superintendent said she was made aware of the case and that there were allegations made 2 years ago that SDP number 1, school district personnel still working there, had touched parent number 1's child on his privates. The superintendent said that it was resolved in 2019 and encouraged investigators to talk to, here we go with SDP number 5. DCFS asked the question, to whom were the allegations reported in 2019? The superintendent answered, SDP number 1 and 2. DCFS articulated the concern that the school district personnel are mandatory reporters and that no one at the school district reported the 2019 allegation to law enforcement or Child Protective Services. Why? The superintendent said she did not know whether or not the 2019 allegation was reported to law enforcement or Child Protective Services. DCFS asked the superintendent, whose responsibility is it to report allegations of child abuse? The superintendent replied, the parents. The parents went to the school. The school is supposed to notify law enforcement. If anything is reported to the school, they must, as mandated reporters, contact law enforcement. Parent went to the school because SDP number 1 was the alleged abuser. So of course they went to the school first. When DCFS inquired further, the superintendent stated that she did not know because she wasn't working at the district in 2019. Law enforcement issued an investigative subpoena number 1 to the defendant, which is the Park City School District, the entity, in early 2022, and nearly 600 documents were produced. There is no evidence that the defendant conducted any investigation into the allegation that SDP number 1 touched parent number 1's child's penis, nor is the defendant qualified or authorized to do so. Amazing. Investigative subpoena number 1 discovered an email sent on October 13th, 2021. Now here comes SDP number 4 to parent number 1 about the 2019 allegation. So it's interesting to me that in October of 2021, all of a sudden SDP 4 comes out of the woodwork and sends an email to parent number 1 about the allegation that happened in 2019. And the email said, and I quote, "I just wanted to follow up with you about our conversation. My school psychologist colleague brought up that as mandated reports, we are obligated to report any abuse is suspected or known of. Since this happened 2 years ago, I don't want to stir things up that were resolved already, but I also do not want to ignore potential issues that could still be a concern. I do not want to make any assumptions, so please let me know if this is a current concern." When SDP number 4 was interviewed by law enforcement in March of 22, so present day now, they said they reported the 2019 allegation in 2021 to a colleague at the Park City School District. So SDP number 4 reported the allegation to a colleague, not to. Who are they supposed to report it to? DCFS or law enforcement, but instead they talked to a colleague. They reported the allegation in 2021 to a colleague at the Park City School District, SDP number 5. Neither SDP 4 or SDP 5 reported the 2019 allegation to law enforcement or Child Protective Services in 2021. I just said that. No one reported the 2019 allegation to law enforcement or Child Protective Services until the medical professional reported it in late of 2021. SDP 1, SDP 2, SDP 4 cooperated with law enforcement in March of 2022. SDP 5 has not returned phone calls from law enforcement. SDP number 5 is probably all lawyered up, which is a smart thing to do, because I'd be lawyering up as well. So that's probably why they have not returned any phone calls to law enforcement. In early March of 2022, and in the course and scope of the investigation of a separate incident involving juveniles, so this is early March of 2022, present day, and in the course and scope of the investigation of a separate incident involving juveniles, parent number 2 told law enforcement about a past allegation that parent number 2's male child had been raped by a fellow student. So this is a juvenile, different school. Parent number 2 said they learned of the allegation from SDP 6, a 6th person now, and that the report of rape came from a student. Although SDP 6 informed parent number 2, SDP 6 did not report this allegation to law enforcement or Child Protective Services. Do you see a pattern here? What are they supposed to be doing? You get an allegation of rape in school, you're supposed to report it to the proper authorities. You are mandated by law to do so. Further investigation revealed that in December of 2021, a Park City School District school received information about an allegation that a female child, not a juvenile, a child, was raped by a fellow student. No report was made in December of 2021 to law enforcement of Child Protective Services. Instead, documents produced pursuant to subpoena number 2 reveal that in December of 2021, child about the rape allegation and asked if she told her friends. So SDP number 7, 7 people right now. SDP number 7 interviewed the female child about the rape allegation and asked if she told her friends she was raped or sexually assaulted. SDP number 7 then held a mediation among and between the parents and children involved in the allegation. So SDP 7 took it upon themselves to handle the situation in-house instead of being a mandated reporter and reporting this to law enforcement and child protective services, which is what they're supposed to do. It is not their job to be a mediator. It is their job to report it, and it's the job of the appropriate authorities to investigate whether or not the claims are valid. Allegations, that's the problem. Who the F do these people think they are, thinking that they can just sweep allegations like these under the rug and handle it in-house? Why? You're mandated. You get training every August, which I'll read Jill Godea's letter to Park City parents, to the school district parents, about what transpired. Allegations relating to rape and parent number 2 child and the female child did not come to the attention of law enforcement and child protective services until they were unearthed in the course and scope of an entirely separate law enforcement investigation in March of 2022. Margaret Olson said, systemic institutional failure. This allegation of rape, the female child, wasn't even unearthed until it was dug up in subpoenas and emails probably. I'm thinking internal emails. This information is based on evidence obtained from the following witnesses. The state reserves the right to supplement its witness list as additional discovery warrants. So this is an ongoing investigation signed by Margaret Olson, the county attorney, under penalty of perjury. Now, she had said in the press conference that there was a real-time case happening right now in the Park City School District, knowing that they were under investigation, failed to report it to the proper authorities again. Systemic institutional failure. Shame on you, Park City School District. Wow. I mean, this is bad. Now, this is the same school district that threatened to trespass children for not wearing a mask when the mask mandates went into effect at Parley's Elementary School. The tyrant Phil Bondurant went to do a site check and intimidate children who had parents' permission, religious exemptions. And the parents decided that their children couldn't wear a mask for whatever reason. These children were subjected to bullying, intimidation, basically discrimination and segregation. And I know this for a fact. It's a fact. And I actually had a conversation with law enforcement about this and the threats of these people in the school district threatening children with trespass. But an allegation of rape or sexual abuse, oh, we're just going to sweep it under the rug. What does that tell you? This is just not okay. And I don't care what your stance is on masks or whatever, no child deserves to be intimidated, bullied, coerced, segregated, discriminated against. Everyone is all about equal rights to all, but this group of children. And that's really disgusting to me because it's so hypocritical. It's such hypocrisy. And it's a different agenda entirely. And the fact that they wouldn't dare report a rape or a sexual abuse tells me that something is systemically wrong in this school, in the school district. And I know that there was an incident back in August of bullying, that the only reason that something was done about it was because it was posted and the video went viral. So there was actual real-time evidence of the incident. And then something had to be done. But right now, let's see what happens. And you know what? Even though this is a really bad thing, a real dark time with the Park City School District, I'm confident and I have faith that it will be cleaned up and that things will be okay. I do have that hope and faith. But right now, calling you out, man. Calling you out because, this has gone on too long, too long. And I'm going to read the statement from Jill Gadea that she sent out to parents, and I think it's from Jill Gadea. Park City School District is committed to student safety. It has come to the attention of the Park City School District that the Summit County Attorney is reviewing now what the school district reports as child abuse. Park City School District takes allegations of this nature seriously. That's why we are committed to ensuring students are protected and educators have the tools to identify child abuse. State law requires educators to report instances of child abuse. No shit. When there is a reasonable belief that it has occurred. Park City School District goes beyond that requirement to provide mandatory training to all employees on what to look for in these cases. If you are a PCSD employee, then you recall the annual training the district conducts. So right now, this is a cover your ass moment. The shit is rolling downhill as we speak. The shit is rolling downhill. Oh, I'm not to blame. Although the superintendent knew of the 2019 allegations because it says so in the subpoena, in this indictment here. They knew about it, but nothing was done. But she's blaming down here, okay? For our parents and caregivers who have background, this mandatory training is conducted in August and all employees must verify they have participated. Annually, training is provided to all staff members. Our work in this area is transparent. However, we are limited in what we can publicly say in the interest of protecting student privacy on this particular topic. We can say that during the 2021-2022 school year, PCSD reported specific cases of child abuse as required by state law. Those reports made to the school resource officer or by call to the Department of Child and Family Services, which is responsible for determining the appropriate response. So maybe they reported one case. Who knows? I don't know what this means, so I'm speculating. Families and employees should know that PCSD has complied with the county attorney's subpoena and has provided the information, knowing that we are fully cooperating with the county attorney's review of the matter. The Park City School takes allegations of child abuse report seriously. If you have reason to suspect a child is being harmed, please contact the DCF hotline. And so this is a Park City School District official letter. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know if it came from the superintendent's office, but that's their letter. And of course, they're not addressing the allegations that are in the indictment because they probably can't comment. You know what I mean? So you can't really comment, but I see the top is absolving themselves and the shit is rolling down the hill. Listen, Park City parents, be involved in your children's education. See what's going on there because it is not the same it's not the same time and era when I grew up. I'm 50 years old. It was a completely different situation. And there is a lot of money in this town. There's elite people that live in this town, and money talks. And where there's a lot of money, there's a lot of corruption. My opinion, but, my opinions and theories have been proven correct time and time again. So, parents, please hold the Park City School District accountable for their actions because this needs to stop. We need to protect our kids. We need to protect them. And they need to have a safe place to go to in school. And they don't need to be harassed, intimidated, made to feel inferior, scared, bullied, sexually abused and harassed, and other students doing the same thing. And then they go and tell their a trusted school district personnel and nothing gets done about it, how do you think that makes a child feel? When they've already been masked up, right? Masked up, it already symbolizes no voice. And then they go and tell a trusted school district personnel that they're being abused and nothing gets done. What does that tell your child or your teen? It means that their voice doesn't matter. That needs to stop. And I'm Natalie, and as this case progresses, I will make more videos, and I am back making videos, all kinds of videos, and I'm excited to be back, and that's it. If you like my content, if you like my content, like and subscribe. And subscribe, that's it.